As you should know, John Doe and Jane Doe were users of Roblox who logged off many years ago, at the same time. But what many don't know is the rumor. They both heard of Roblox and met each other on there. Their real names were never known, however. One day, Jane found a game called Room Number 1. Jane was really excited and called John to tell him to play the game. Both joined the game soon afterwards. Different from other games which loaded a bit faster. When they joined, nothing was visible for a couple of seconds. Their characters finally loaded, but there was nothing in the game, besides a red head. It looked odd as it was huge. When they started moving, a very odd, dull music started playing. They then turned off their speakers because they were scared. When they got to the head, Jane wanted to touch it, but John wanted to observe it. It had no visible face and was just a big red head. The odd part was that when John or Jane moved closer, the head just looked at the closest person. Jane, being the immature girl she was, said it was similar to a goofy character from a TV show they watched. John didn't reply as he was too busy observing the odd figure. John was getting bored and was going to tell Jane to play another game, but Jane said it first. They both tried to leave the game, but the options menu was gone. John asked what happened to it. Jane chatted that maybe it was just a bug. Their computers were new too, so John found something suspicious. Jane suggested that maybe they try closing the Roblox window, but that didn't work either. John was about to shut down his computer until he realized his computer buttons were all missing. Nothing was there. Now he started to worry. He assumed Jane reacted the same, but shockingly, Jane was trying to be optimistic. John decided not to worry. They just both moved around for a bit, circling each other and chatting. All of a sudden, the floor below their characters started to shatter, pulling them downwards towards a dark room. The falling lasted for about 5 minutes. But what was odd was that they couldn't focus on anything else in real life, besides the screen. It was almost like they were being forced to play. All of a sudden, the screen wasn't dark anymore. They could see what was around them. John found Jane. Both were happy to find each other, but they started worrying in the chat, asking questions like, "Where are we?" and "Why are we here?" Images would flash on their screens showing some kind of figure. It looked like the red head from earlier, but it was a different color, and a sad, faint cry could be heard. Both rushed to find help or anybody else, but the way they went led to an endless loop of a hallway, which would lead them back to where they began. John thought maybe they were in trouble. They didn't want to worry, but that's all they could do. For a couple of seconds, they were both able to release from the screen, staring and looking around, but all they could see was a mist of darkness around them. Jane said they didn't have to worry, as they have each other. John felt a little better after hearing some promising words, but he still wondered what the heck was going on. John really never had any friends at school. Not much is known, but he is said to have been a loner. Jane was supposedly a caring person, but she is still a mysterious case. While having a moment of hope, a sudden bang is heard. It repeats, getting louder and louder until everything turns white. Everything is loud and blinding, almost to the point of pain. Then it stops. But when John looks up, he finds himself in the most horrifying circumstance. John quickly recovers from that irritating noise. When he looks up, he notices Jane isn't there. He walks around trying to see if she was there, but nothing was to be seen. John was about to have a panic attack. Where was Jane? Was she hurt? Why did she leave him? And what's going on? Jane looks up after an irritating noise. Strangely, John isn't there. She's confused, as usually, John never wanders by himself in games. She walks around trying to find him when all of a sudden, a door appears. It's only a few steps away, clear to be seen but nothing on it. She moves towards it and touches it, hoping John is on the other side. Right when she touches the door, she's pushed back by force. She tries again, but this time a ghostly figure appears with a red head. Jane can barely comprehend what is going on when her screen is suddenly blinded. Strangely, she couldn't move herself nor her character. The ghostly red figure approached Jane closer and closer. A smile appears on the figure's face, growing bolder and bolder. As he moves closer, Jane starts to worry, crying for John. John kept moving and found a door. Instead of pushing him away like it did for Jane, he was able to enter. When he entered, he saw the horrifying fates of many other people who entered the game before them. Not only did their characters endure pain, but they did as well. Some were mutilated and even forced to kill each other. John, scared to death, left the image room. A new door appeared and John entered, but instead of seeing more people in pain, he was about to realize his fate. John opened his eyes only to see Jane standing there screaming in pain as barbed wire was wrapped around her legs and arms. The barbed wire cut deeper and deeper into her skin, making her unable to move. John was now terrified. He screamed to let her go. 3 shadows appeared in front of John. They blocked his entryway of getting to Jane. Suddenly, flames broke loose around Jane. John, screaming in horror, pushed the shadows to the side and ran to Jane. He didn't let the flames affect him. He tried to get Jane out of the wire. Sadly, the wire became deeper and deeper. John didn't know what to do.